Today I'm delighted to welcome Mr. Vinod Zutshi, retired IAS officer, to our campus in Bangalore for an insightful conversation about elections, election processes in India, as well as some insights into his experience as a senior civil servant. Mr. Zutshi joined the Indian bureaucracy in 1982 as an Indian Administrative Service officer and has been allotted the Rajasthan cadre. With over 35 years of experience, he has served in various roles within state government, central government, and also autonomous institutions. Notably, he held positions such as Secretary of Department of Tourism, Department of Culture within Government of India, and he served as Deputy Election Commissioner with Election Commission of India from December 2009 to August 2015. In his role as Deputy Election Commissioner, Mr. Zutshi oversaw nearly all elections that fall under the Commission's purview. Thank you, sir. Thank you for joining us
Thank
today.
you.
Sir, I would like to start from your early days. So, generally, whenever we have a conversation with any senior bureaucrat, everyone tells us stories about different roles that they have taken up so far, but they'll have a favorite office. So, what is your favorite office, sir?
Well, it's a very difficult question, Mr. Shashidhar. But since you are asking me, the experience that one gets at the national level is something which is very rewarding, both for you, for the person, as well as for the country if you do a good job there. Because the impact of what you do, whether you formulate a policy or you implement the government policies, it has a very large impact throughout the country. And not just within the country, it has a global impact as well. So I think I have worked, as Secretary, Ministry of Tourism in Government of India. That was a very interesting as well as challenging, profile. And of course, as Deputy Election Commissioner. But I would not rule out the kind of good experience that one gets and the kind of service that you can do as collector and district magistrate. I had an opportunity to be collector in 4 districts, and particularly in a district like Jaipur, which is the state capital. It was not just a good experience and stepping stone for me in terms of, exposure, but it also helped me to see what all are the administrative aspects, what are the requirements of people, especially in a large district. You have to handle all aspects, including disasters, including law and order. So basically, that collector district magistrate role for any IAS officer, I would say, is one of the most rewarding and very useful, posting. And I enjoyed this post also a lot.
Thank you. That's very interesting. Because I have a follow-up on the district collector's office that you have taken up. Because when I was preparing for this conversation,
In fact, I would like to just mention that among 4 districts, there was one district which I started, a new district. This is a district carved out of Jaipur. This was in 1991, called Dausa. So there was. It was upgraded from a subdivision to, a district. The kind of challenges one had to set up an entire district changed the perception of people, from that subdivisional level to the district level. The expectation of the people, now that it's become a district, we have a collector and district magistrate, lots of things will change, and how you cope up with those challenges, you start afresh. That experience, again, I would say that has been very rewarding.
It's interesting, sir, because always creating a new district comes up with a lot of challenges. That's because a district is created based out of the aspirations of and meeting.
And the infra is not so much as you deserve, as you want. The facilities are not as many, because from subdivision level to the district level, the challenges are more, the area is more. So I set up everything, right, from the office and the district level officers, the residential areas, people's perception, all those which are required at the district level. So I very fondly remember my tenure as Dausa collector also.
That's great, sir. How about your experience in Jaipur? Because that's a capital city, and the
As
challenges are
yes,
different.
Jaipur, as I had mentioned earlier, was very challenging. It is one of the most difficult districts. If you see from the perception that you're in the state capital, anything that happens in state capital, has ripples. It percolates down to the entire state. So you have to be extra careful. If there is a law and order situation in Jaipur, it means that the state itself is in a bad situation. So we had to be very careful about it. Number two, because of the largeness of the district and the urban issues that you have, that poses more challenges. You have all kinds of issues: drinking water, you have the supply of electricity, you have more law and order situations, urban areas, in terms of sewage disposal, rains, natural disasters if they come, tourism. So it's a very interesting though, but it does bring a lot of challenges. But I am happy that I was there for 2 years, and I was able to. In fact, I came out satisfied, after spending 2 years, not just for myself in terms of the experience that I got, but also in terms of the work which I could do within the resources that I had. So it was certainly very good.
Nice, sir. Let's. I'll transition to your central government
Yes,
roles
please.
now. Not the government, but the autonomous institution. How did your transition to Election Commission of India happen, sir?
So yes,
Were there any specific reasons for
yes,
that
there
transition?
were specific reasons, in the sense that I was the elections to Rajasthan State Assembly were due in 2008 December, and till 2008 March, for almost a gap of 1.5 years, there was no chief electoral officer. The chief electoral officer, let me tell you, is the representative of the election commission at the state level. He's at the helm of the election department, and he's quite autonomous in that sense, because he takes orders from the election commission, but takes salary from the state government. So, commission, when they appoint CEO, they ask for a panel from the state government of 3 officers. I was one of them, and ultimately the election commission selected me. So I was posted as CEO. Now, immediately within 6 months, I had to face these assembly elections. And 3 months later, I had to face the parliament elections of 2009. Now, incidentally, both the elections in Rajasthan for the assembly, and again in Rajasthan, for the parliament elections, they went on very smoothly, very peaceful. Good turnout, everything was fine. So, election commission was now looking for a deputy election commissioner. So, in fact, it was not one of those that I would apply to the Government of India, for a central deputation, and then Election Commission will pick me up. It came straight from the Election Commission. Would you like to come here? So I said yes. I would love to be in the Election Commission. And then the process started at the Election Commission level, and that Government of India appointed me as Deputy Election Commissioner. Another happening which will prove that I was so fascinated with working in Election Commission is that, I came as Joint Secretary in the year 2009. And I was elevated to Additional Secretary level in 2012. Now, that is the time when, if I wanted, the general rule is that you could pick up, or you are posted as Additional Secretary, Government of India, and some other ministry. Okay. So the commission asked me, and I confirmed to commission. I said I would like to continue. And the reason was that 2014 parliament elections were just around the corner 2 years later. So I thought I would not come out of the election commission without holding parliament elections. So the commission was also happy. I was also happy. So they requested the government that let him continue. So I was the first deputy election commissioner to be upgraded in the additional secretary post. And I was very happy about it. So once I finished the elections to the Lok Sabha, and I was looking after many departments at that time, basically preparing the schedule and everything. And then the same year, the commission said you conduct the J&K elections also, which were due So 2014 J&K elections, I was the in charge. And then I wanted to come out of election commission because I was elevated to the secretary level. And then I shifted to the Government of India as secretary to this. So there is long history and my own fascination for this particular profile that brought me to election commission.
Interesting, sir, because most of the times it's by accident that people move to autonomous institutions, autonomous bodies, and then they always look for an opportunity to move out.
So I would say that being picked up as CEO was, of course, an accident. I didn't know about it, but it didn't come as a surprise posting or maybe the experience that I required to be a CEO, because as district collector, we conduct elections. We conduct elections right from the time when we are SDM. When I joined the service as SDM, the first posting in Hanumangarh, within 2 months I faced the elections. And my Hanumangarh the subdivision was so big that it had almost one parliament constituency. And then as collector in Dausa, I conducted elections. And in Jaipur also, when I was district magistrate, I had to conduct the 98 elections. So we are so used to conducting these elections that coming as CEO, one knew what all I have to do. And it's interesting.
So, yes, I also read that your second posting in Dosa was to conduct the elections specifically because there were some law and order issues happening.
So you have really read it so well. Yes, that's very interesting. I'll just very briefly, won't take much time. So what happened is that, generally when there is a vitiation of polls in any polling station, traditionally repolls happen. That means something has happened, booth capturing or whatever, and it has been proved. So polls will be held after 2 days. Now, what happened is the repolls were held in few polling stations in the Dausa district. I am nowhere there. I am registrar cooperative sitting in Jaipur. And at that point in time, when the repolls happened, in 2 polling stations, again vitiation happened. So there was a repoll of repoll. So when this happened, this was the first time in India that even repolls got bad, vitiated. So at that time, the then Chief Election Commissioner and the Election Commission itself, it got very upset, and they immediately changed the collector and SP at that moment. And they asked for new names. So when the commission asked the state government to send the names, so it was so sudden because, elections were to be held, the repoll of repoll were to be held 2 days later. So I was called up by the chief secretary and he rang up and said, you are going to Dausa. I thought they are making me collector Dausa again. I was already 5 years ago. So I said, sir, I have already been, I told the chief secretary that I have already worked as, no, you are not going there as, you are going there as collector as well as you are continuing with registrar cooperative. You are going for a month. But yes, you are going as a collector to conduct the repoll of repoll and then the counting and then come back. So this is what happened, and finally within a day, the same evening, I had to rush to the repoll area, the polling station. We sat in the polling stations for the whole polls, just 2 repolls, and the entire force and all, and we ensured that now nothing happens. And then the counting happened, and after counting, I came back to my original posting. So this is interesting, yeah.
This is interesting, sir. You have narrated your experience of conducting elections in the state as a SDM and DM, district magistrate. And things have changed. You would have witnessed the transition from ballot papers to EVMs to VVPATs. We'll have that as a discussion at a later point. But we have successfully completed general election 2024. And there have been a lot of, I would not say a lot, but there were some controversies, there were some allegations, etc. That have been redressed by the election commission, and some are still continuing. So that every election we have these controversies that happen. Politics aside, what's interesting for all of us is to hear how we have been successfully conducting such a massive exercise. And the transition part also. I mean, one argument a lot of academicians put forward is because there is a sanctity in the electoral process, people there is trust in the people. Therefore, the transition of the governments or transition that happens within the politics is easier, which has been a challenge in a lot of other countries, especially post British rule, post colonial countries. So, thanks to Election Commission of India, their efficiency, we there is confidence in the people. I mean, there are controversies, yet there is confidence in the people about the process. So, how do we do this, sir? Where do we
Yes.
start? How do
Yes,
we prepare the states? How do we do all these
you have
things?
raised a very pertinent point, and it is absolutely true that the Election Commission of India enjoys, you know, a very high level of trust and confidence among people. Now, all these rhetorics and misgivings and misconceptions, uh, they generally start during the process. I don't want to go into the details as to why they start. There are many stakeholders, and they have their very high stakes, right? Now, leaving this point here, there are historical reasons. Can you imagine our forefathers, the constitution makers, they decided to have to establish the Election Commission of India one day before India became republic. 25th January 1950 is the day when Election Commission came into existence. And a day later, we had the republic. So this means that how can there be a republic without an election commission body? And fortunately, we had such election commissioners in the commission, which has not only conducted elections properly, they have also earned the confidence of the people. And not just the people, the political formations also. Now, today, as you so rightly mentioned, that the kind of transfer of power that happens so seamlessly, so smoothly, so peacefully, what does it show? It shows that people have faith and credibility in what election commission does, the way it does. And all this over the years, since you're asking me about transition, I have seen a lot of transition within my tenure, in the election commission for 6 years. The biggest contribution has been of transparency and awareness. Now, today, election commission's policy is that since we have stakeholders in the form of the political parties, we have candidates, huge number of candidates who are public representatives, and we have people at large who are voters. So you must display and expose to these stakeholders everything that they are supposed to know. And this is what has happened. Earlier, the political parties and the candidates themselves, they did not know what is model code of conduct violation. They may not even care to see and read, maybe websites never existed at that time. Even the booklets were there, but nobody will collect. Now, there is a conscious attempt to apprise the political parties' candidates that these are the model code of conduct violations. Please don't do that. If you do that, then you will get notices. So why bring a bad name to yourself? So transparency in EVM, transparency in electoral roll. Today, if you see the National Voter Portal, you will find your name. You just go to the earlier, nobody knew. You keep knocking the door of the electoral registration officer. He's too busy to give you the name, whether your name is there or not. Today, you're getting voter slip at your doorstep 5 days before the polls happen. So that means you are aware of the fact that you are a voter. Your name has not been struck down. So all these issues have been addressed very well. Technology has played a very important role. People sitting at their homes, they can send their Form 6 for election, becoming a member, becoming a voter. However, the BLO comes and gets the signature. That's a different matter. We have even involved people in complaining about the model code of conduct through e-vigil. So all these things, they have earned the confidence of the people, and they know that whatever election commission is doing, they are bringing everything to our knowledge. Now, coming to still some misconceptions are there. I would say that there is still some requirement of greater awareness. Now, this greater awareness has to be both ways. Some from the Election Commission, they are already doing sweep and everything. And at the same time, the people also have to respond. We have even for electronic voting machine. You see, every year, this time also about 2% of the voters were freshers, 18 years. They won't know what EVM is. They haven't tested it. They haven't used it. So Election Commission, before elections, what they do is they make camps, EVM camps, at the bus stand, at the railway station, at some key areas. And they ask youngsters and other people who haven't used the EVM have seen also, please come and have a hands-on. But the response is not so much. It's not just, look at the total overall, I would say the turnout. We are still in 60s, mid-60s. I would say that it's much better than the earlier elections. We have reached a peak at 67% in 2019. And we are around that, a little lower this year, but the actual figures will come later. But the point is that we still have 34% people not voting. So greater awareness, a little bit of effort from the electorate side, little bit of effort from the political party side to know what is what are the Election Commission instructions. And with that, I think things will further improve, and all these so-called controversies which emerge during the election process, whether it is related to the robustness of EVM and the VVPAT and this, that, may not happen again. But one thing you must see, that after the 2024 elections are over, whatever you heard during the process, the moment the country has elected the members, everything is quiet. Because people have faith. So this is how, I would like to, answer your question to these controls. If you have any specific issue on any particular aspect, or I'll be very happy to make it clear.
Sure, sir. Thanks for that elaborate answer. The general, I wanted to ask you about your experience of witnessing the transition from ballot boxes to EVMs to VVPATs.
Yes.
And there is also the controversy which comes once in a while around EVMs and VVPATs.
This is a very important point that you have raised, and in these elections also, both the issues of EVM, VVPAT, in fact, it emerges every time. It started in 2009 after the general elections. The transition has been much before that. I have conducted elections both with ballot paper way back in 1984. And then gradually, in fact, I was Jaipur was one of the districts which tested EVM for the first time. The pilot, one assembly constituency was picked up from Jaipur. So one has seen all this transition. And I can say with a lot of confidence that this transition has been good for the country, for India's democracy, for the election management. Okay. And people have immense faith. It's just that being not aware of the actual reality, maybe if somebody raises an issue. Now let's come to the issue of EVM. It started in 2009. There were some elements which said that it is temperable, it is hackable. Commission started, dispelling, these misperceptions, I would say. And we always said that it is not a internet, linked machine. It is like a calculator. You keep pressing 1, 1, 1, it gets added. So it's very robust and very reliable, I would say. And in that particular period, today the controversy is not so acute, I would say. In 2010, 11, if you go back, you will find some people showed it on the TV, how it can be hacked. They put a Bluetooth inside, this, that. So incidentally, we called the gentleman to the commission. I was there as Deputy Election Commissioner. And we asked the gentleman to come and show how you can do it. He said, I am not PC Sarkar. I can't do gilly and change. He said, I will take it home, do something with it, and then come back. I said, we don't let EVMs of commission to be taken to homes. Even then, I would like to mention this particular point because it's very important. The moment they said Bluetooth or something, they said, all right, somebody can put it inside. Later on, some election machinery itself colludes with somebody. These are all apprehensions which have no founding, no base. But still, if the people are having some question mark or doubt, it is the duty of the election commission to dispel that. And we did that. So we thought, I was very much part of the commission at that time. So ultimately, the issue was that the control unit, where he had shown that some Bluetooth can be placed. So this was, the commission decided, all right, why not we tie this control unit once and for all and show it to the people. So we have a first level check of EVM, in which EVM, after testing that they are working well, we call the political parties. Candidates are not there at that time. We show them, look, yes, we can see. We put it back, and then we started putting a Nasik made, that currency note seal around, 2 seals around the control unit, along the ballot unit. And we would ask the political parties to sign them. Okay. So all those who were present, in whose presence this was done, they would sign. And this seal will remain till it comes on the counting table.
Okay.
Right? So the same political party can see, all right, my seal, my signature is still there. Now, this is the kind of, nothing was actually there, but the people's perception. If there are any doubts about it, Commission always saw to it that those doubts are cleared and some measures are taken. VVPAT is also a part of that. Now, today we have a paper trail, and everyone, whoever, earlier we used to see only the beep sound and the glow against the name. Today we have the, everything details. It need not come out to be taken by you, but it goes down. That's because, the idea is only to show that you have voted on the right person whom you wanted to vote. And it's working very well. So this is how, things have, even VVPAT issue came into news this time. The matter went to Supreme Court, Honorable Supreme Court last time in 2019. The Honorable Supreme Court settled the matter that, all right, 5 slips will be counted. So some of the sections of parties, they wanted that all the slips should be counted. So the idea, the commission, gave the logic that then it will be just like the ballot system again comes back. You first count from the EVM and then you count the slips, and those slips are just this much. So these are all things which maybe people are not aware as to what are the consequences if this is done. So that is it.
Thank you. Thanks for that explanation, sir. I've seen a lot of clarifications on this, but this is more elaborate. Thank you so much. I mean, the analogy that you use, that it's like a calculator. That's actually...
Obviously, you call it electronic because it's made by 2 public sector. Our own companies, our own, I would say, the Navaratnas kind, the Bharat, BEL, Electronics Limited, and ECIL. They're the own public sector. So I don't want to talk into details of technology which is used, but it's absolutely robust. And I would like to tell all the entire audience and all the people concerned with the EVM that we found it to be absolutely robust. We found it to be absolutely reliable, and there should not be an iota of doubt about its efficacy and about its trust.
Thank you, sir. Sir, conducting elections at this scale needs a lot of trained professionals. And we all know that most the professionals who are engaged in electoral process are government officers. And there are these permanent bureaucrats or officers attached with election commission also. How do we ensure, or how does ECI ensure about the capacity building of these officers? I know that there is India's International Institute of Democracy and Electoral Management, IIIDM, formed by the Election Commission of India. So, how has been your association with it?
So, very, very relevant point, because you see, when we talk of elections are human resource driven event. where at every step you need a human being. You cannot run with machines alone. Therefore, human resource development is very important. Now, right from the time when IIIDM was also not there, the training part assumes lot of importance. I would go back to 1984 since you mentioned transition. No, the system hasn't changed. We used to have 3 trainings of polling parties.
Okay.
We still have 3 rounds. One used to wonder at that time, why have 3 rounds? They have understood. But when it came to training, there was no scope for any compromise. And that training is elaborate. When the EVMs came, separate training for EVM hands-on. Lots of videos were prepared, lots of videos were circulated. As the technology came, how the EVM functions, we prepared lots of PowerPoint presentations about EVM and all. So then came IIIDM. So all states have their own capacity building, infrastructure. And let me also tell you that in case of Indian elections, the unique part is that India elections are conducted only by the government servants. Nothing which is part of the legal process is ever done by any private people. You may have videographer, you may have transport, those vehicles which can be contracted, but then right from the polling parties up to the election commission, everyone is a government servant. And so this is something unique. People also, I have addressed many other countries, in lecture in IIIDM under ITEC program of Ministry of External Affairs. And they are really, they generally feel very impressed by this aspect that it is the government agency which is conducting elections. How can they be neutral? So just see the bureaucracy of the country. On one hand, till the model code of conduct is imposed, the same district machinery is, working in tandem with the political executives of the state. They are adhering and they are following all the orders of the political executive. And the moment the model code starts, you find that they are becoming more and more neutral for those 2 months, till the time. So this is the uniqueness and the best part about Indian elections. So the training, because people keep changing, so you need to have training. In fact, many a times, and we now take tests also.
Okay.
After the presiding officer, polling officer, no, sir, we know everything, no, you subject to. I remember I was Gujarat in charge also. So I attended one of the class, test also. So they will give a multiple choice, this thing, and they will. And whoever doesn't clear that test, he's subjected to training again.
Okay.
So what I'm trying to say in nutshell is that IIIDM now what is doing is, I go to IIIDM very regularly. What they have done is they have professionalized it. They have produced modules and they have standardized the training module. In the sense, earlier, one state, Gujarat, will have their own PowerPoint presentation containing certain things. Haryana will have different. Madhya Pradesh will have different. That at times there were errors also. Okay. At times the political representatives, I remember, would tell me as Deputy Election Commissioner, he said, when Haryana people say that this is the law and this is the Election Commission's instruction, we checked up with Madhya Pradesh, they say, oh no, this is not correct. So what IIIDM has done is they are preparing a standardized module and training programs which can be spread all over and can be used by every state commonly for the entire country. Okay. And they are also giving training to the district magistrates, every time Lok Sabha elections happen. So it's a complete 3 to 4 tier training program starting with DEOs. We call district magistrate as district election officer. Okay. And returning officers, then the police officials, then to the next level of the EROs and the AROs, and then down to the BLOs also. Okay. So booth level officers is another big transition and a revolutionary step which Commission has taken. We have as many BLOs today, Mr. Sasidhar, as the number of polling stations. Yes. And they're all government people. They're all village level functionaries, teachers and village level workers, all these people. So it's a very unique kind of infrastructure, and they need training. The manpower without training is useless. If they do a wrong thing, then it maligns the image of the election commission. Anything done wrongly at the polling station just by not being aware of the election commission instructions would become a controversy, and the motive will be assigned to you never know how many people. The problem is that one presiding officer did one small mistake because he had not read the presiding officer's handbook, but it'll assume larger proportion, and everyone will say, oh, there is some controversy and some connivance and all. I'll give you one example. You see, there is a system of mock polls. About half an hour to 45 minutes before the actual polls start. Suppose the polls start at 8 o'clock. So maybe at 7:15 or so, the mock polls start. Now, mock poll is basically another measure to ensure transparency of the EVMs. So you have polling agents inside the polling station of all the candidates, right? So before them, the mock polls happened. 50 votes are cast, and they are casted by these people. All right, polling agent 1, please put 5 votes, 2, 5 votes. 5. So he presses the EVM mock poll. Now, after the mock poll is over, those 50 results of 50 are taken out. Okay. And they are given and shown. So they know who they have voted for.
Okay.
So in that case, all those, that is a cross-checking that just before the polls also we have checked up the veracity of EVM, and it is doing well. Exact number of votes have come and they have come in the... Now what happens is, the next stage as per the Election Commission instruction is, please erase that result.
Okay.
All right. Now, one in maybe 100 or 1 in 200, 300 polling parties, have made this mistake. They forgot to erase the result. And they have started the election, the polls, with the result that it is a sure shot repoll.
Okay.
Because whatever have been mock polled, 50 votes get added. And it's very difficult to segregate from them, and the perception. So these mistakes, if presiding officer does, it may assume a very large proportion. Oh, there is something fishy about it. So these are things which are pure errors, but they become controversies.
Oh, that's interesting, sir, because so what we see in news on the polling day is the controversy part.
Yes.
So
I wouldn't say, press and media is the main source, but there are complaints and grievances on the poll day, huge number, right from the time the polling starts, even the night before. There are, the candidates keep calling the election machinery. Sir, money is being distributed the night before. Sir, booth capturing. Sir, this, sir, that. Most of them are not correct, but some of them may be correct, and they are checked immediately. Second source of creating this controversy is they come from the media. There is one event which happens. I remember this was the elections in Bihar. I was in charge of Bihar. So one channel would show a firecracker was bursted by someone. And that media kept on showing that firecracker bomb blast in Patna, one of the Patna streets and polling station. So, and the poll is going on. I was sitting in my election commission office. So immediately I told the DGP and the CS, not CS, but the district magistrate and all. I said, you take the party, go send a party to the spot, take your video, get the facts, and then go on air immediately to say that this is the fact. Because people will abstain from going to voting. They will be scared. Oh, there's a bomb blast, so I should remain in my home. Now these things, there's just one example. There can be so many of them. So these press and media things that come, I say that most of them are not made out. It's hearsay, but it is not properly investigated. Then the problem is, we always used to tell the media, before you air a thing, why don't you check up from the machinery, from the government machinery or the election commission machinery? When they don't do it, then controversies become, because people have a lot of trust on the press and media reports also, unless they are controverted.
Okay.
So these are the reasons why these things happen.
Sir, couple of last questions. Post your tenure, post your retirement, you have been a special observer appointed by Election Commission of India for various polls. And while you were while you were associated with the Election Commission of India, as well as your role as special observer, what were certain challenging issues or tough elections that you had to deal with?
So, in election commission, Mr. Sasidhar, the deputy election commissioners or any executive, they are not observers. Observers are taken from the state. Senior IS officers from other states are taken as observers. But after my superannuation, I was in 2019 elections particularly, the commission engaged me in making me special observer. There was a problem in Tripura. In the first phase, in one of the phases, there was violence and there were massive complaints from the other parties. The commission decided to, postpone the second phase. And then I got a call from the election commission that you will have to go as special observer. So I was there for almost a week. So we took charge of the entire thing. Now, basically, the special observer's role is to hold hand, to advise, and to carefully watch. Are they doing things as per the commission's instructions? And with the kind of experience one has had as in the election commission, you do tell lots of things which the district administration should not do, or the mistakes that they have done. So it's basically a helping hand also, but we don't direct them, because special observers are only observing. We report to the election commission. Similarly, in 2022 Punjab elections, I was engaged by election. I stayed there for almost 20-25 days.
Okay.
Yes. So I went all over, addressed the collectors, SPs in almost of all the districts. Again, during counting, I went to Tripura. Then I was sent to Andhra Pradesh and Telangana during the counting. There was an issue also in Andhra Pradesh regarding electoral roll. Some parties had doubt about duplication of voters. So I was sent there. He said that the commission said you go and see what all is the problem and how can we resolve it. So I went to Andhra Pradesh and sat with CEOs and all. They did a good job, and ultimately the parties were satisfied. Again, during counting, I was saying that maybe something may happen during counting. So it was a very sensitive elections, in 2019 Lok Sabha elections. So that way, the special observers, they keep a watch, and they are at the state level. We have observers for every parliamentary constituency. We have a general observer who is primarily from the IS. We have police observers from the IPS. And we have expenditure observers from the IRS, Revenue Service. And they're all working officers. Okay. So special observers, so far, they have been appointing the commission, the superannuated retired people who have worked in the election commission, or maybe they have had experience. So this is how it was a great challenge. And this Tripura thing was really becoming a big challenge for the commission. Ultimately, everything went smoothly. And when you have a special observer, the political formations, the government people, the parties at the state level, they can interact with the state observer. So you have one person to meet with. Otherwise, if somebody has to meet observers, they will have to contact at least 30 observers within the state, because they are lodged in parliamentary constituency level.
Yes. The last question on your election commission experience. We currently through our IIIDEM and other experiences, I'm assuming that we are mentoring or supporting other countries which are transitioning to democracies or which have transitioned but struggling to organize elections properly. So what kind of roles are we playing, when I say we, the Election Commission of India, in supporting neighbor countries or other countries in their democratic transition or the election processes?
So let me start with saying that India is actually a leader in electoral governance. The kind of credibility that Indian elections has, throughout the world, is is seeing is believing. I have been to many conferences, Commonwealth and all, and when I spoke on elections in India, there also, they it was they are full of awe and surprise. You know, you have at that time it was about 840 million people. 840 million combinedly, Europe will have less electorate. I'm just saying. So, and conducting it so smoothly, continuously. Elections after elections. It's not just one 2024. You will have Maharashtra and Haryana and other elections very soon. So the track record is so good. In fact, one of the top leaders of US had said that India's elections are gold standard. You have seen what has happened in US. They also they are a democracy. So my basic point is that because of this credibility and confidence that the other countries have in India, every fortnight you have a delegation coming from all the countries, different countries, especially developing nations, especially the democracies which have just become democracies, to Delhi. They have courses organized by Triple IDM. That is why the Triple IDM, when it was made when I was still in the commission, 2012. International, it has the word international. So I can say that today there are more courses of international, background than the domestic one, because domestic happens only when there are elections. Internationals keep happening. I have been witness by addressing large number of countries. There is another thing called ITEC. ITEC is a program of training run by the Ministry of External Affairs. Okay. So what happens is, whenever people from other countries, delegates, they come to India, they are very keen on taking some briefing about the elections also. So they can come to Election Commission. Okay. So every time, even election management bodies of other countries, they keep. In fact, I have addressed Maldives, I have addressed African countries. So being a leader, they have so much of faith in our electoral system. In fact, I have seen them making notes when you speak, asking questions. How do you do this? Raising eyebrows. Oh, lovely. So this is the kind of expressions we see when we address these people. So there's a complete structure and system of regularly. Another very interesting point is, you see, in international sphere, when elections are held in other countries, Indian representatives, especially from the Election Commission, they go as observers, international observers. I have been to 3-4 countries. I have been to Thailand, I have been to Nepal, I have been to another. And I have also been to Jordan. They wanted election experts. So they called 2 representatives from Election Commission. Incidentally, I had the opportunity, along with the Chief Electoral Officer of Andhra Pradesh, to go and visit there for 10 days. They wanted to know about elections because they were having elections in 2013 in Jordan. So this is another example. So what happens is that these people, when they call us as observers, but when we call these people for our elections, especially the general elections, we call them as to witness our elections, not to observe our elections. Okay. India is so confident about the fairness and freedom of elections that we don't allow, we are not asking you to observe and tell to the international people that everything was fine. We know that it is fine. We are the leaders. Okay. It is only you come and see, you come and witness. So we use the word witness, not observe. Okay. That is because we think that we are doing a good job compared to what other countries are doing. There may be some reforms which some of the countries may have done, which we are also pursuing. We have not. It's not that we are front runner in every aspect. For example, biometrics. There are some countries where biometrics are done before the Just like you get identified with your epic card at the polling station, there was a proposal and a reform proposal that why can't we use biometrics, which means every voter when he comes, he does his biometric, just like your we did it for the Aadhaar card, and he is identified with that. So, but that is a very tedious thing, and it is on the election for the election commission to see whether it is possible in immediate future. But there are some countries which are doing it. So, what I'm trying to say is that some things there are other countries are doing which can be emulated by us, but in terms of the credibility and trust, and in terms of the election management aspect, as we call world's largest festival of democracy, India is number one.
That's good to know, sir. We'll move out from the election commission part. I so it's the last question, more or less. Sir, you have been an IAS officer for 35 years in various roles, and you must have mentored a lot of junior IAS officers, and also you might have mentored a lot of aspirants also. Uh, how do you see? I mean, if you were to advise uh, the current generation or the aspirants, what are the things that you would want them to focus on, uh, and what are the things that they should be aspiring for? Because the role of bureaucracy also has changed over the years. The kind of roles, earlier it was enablers, now it is, I mean, earlier it was facilitators, now enablers. So, I mean, with lot of changes in the political economy, the role of bureaucrat also has been changing. So, if you have to give an advice to an aspirant, what would that
Well,
be?
yes, I am already in this space, but as you rightly said, even when one is in the IAS and when I was serving, and some youngsters would meet and see, my first statement is uh, IAS and civil service. It's a extremely good career, and if youngsters are interested to go in public service space, there is no service better than this service. And it is not just challenging, but challenging in the positive sense. It throws so many opportunities. Every day is a new day. Every day you have challenges, and every day you have to take decisions. So, career wise, excellent. Now, number two, those who want to get into this career, into services, the first thing that is required, which I also noted in my own time, that there has to be a passion. There has to be a fire within you. That, and it should be your own decision that I want to be there. Because without passion, you will not be able to pursue, for long, such a long process, of the. It's not just long process alone. Basically, you have to customize your knowledge. You have to customize your preparation to what this exam is asking you for. The preliminary is a different ball game. You have to be prepared for multiple. Anyone who is good in narrative answers, narrational answers, long answers, may not do good in the prelims. So your practicing for the preliminary exam has to be totally different. Suddenly, within 2 to 3 months, you are shifting to a narration. Now, in narration also, I would only would only mention 1 or 2 points because you can't talk in too detail. Is that your originality is very important, in the sense that they are provocative questions. They are factual also. Without facts, you cannot analyze. They are analytical. They want your brain to be engaged. They want your thoughts to be engaged. And that is why the essay paper has been introduced lately. Because when it comes to just 4-word essay subject, you can imagine when lakhs of people or maybe thousands of people in the IAS, they are attempting the question, everyone will project their thoughts. It should not be bookish. So analytical. And after having cleared the main exam, but again for main examination, sincerity, hard work, perseverance, and faith in yourself and confidence in yourself. You may not clear the first time, don't get hassled. You can try again. I have known so many. I mentor for interviews, and the third stage is the mentoring. So I am into the mentoring of through mock interviews. We prepare them for that half an hour interview in UPSC, and that is when we meet people. So first we hold 30 minutes interview. This is out of UPSC. I have been to UPSC also as a member, immediately after I superannuated. But then that experience I'm using. So we ask them later on, we give feedback. And in the feedback, we tell them, all right, this answer was not good. Don't do this when you go for the actual interview. Sit like this when you go for the interview. Now, these things are very trivial at times, but they are very important. And later on, when the person gets into the services clear, then he or she, would come back and say, your interview, suggestions that you gave were really very handy, this, that. So basically, you have to be after it. And don't leave it till you get it. And there should be, we ask a question, very interesting question. What is your plan B? I'm talking with the mock interview, just to test how passionate that person is. So some of them will say, sir, if I don't get into this, then I will pursue in career in corporate, this. So when we give the feedback, we say, please don't say that. The real answer should come from you showing passion. Sir, there is no question why I would not get this. I have lots of hopes this time. I have done my main exam very well. And I'm sure I will make it this time. If not, then I will attempt again. So this is how you project your personality. So these are some of the tips that I can give to the IAS aspirants while they are attempting. And once you are in the service, not much has changed. I would only advise that those youngsters who have got into the service, they have to be very adept at technology. Because technology is playing a very important role. In our times, it never existed. But today, if any IAS officer, for that matter, is not good at technology, he may not be able to do justice with his work and serve the people properly. Because at every step, the technology has been involved. So you have to learn. In fact, even otherwise, when we go to a district, we know nothing about the district, but we learn within a few days and start, delivering. So this quickness, the promptness with which you have to learn and give is very important.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you. On that note, I would like to thank Mr. Zutshi for sharing his rich experiences as working as a bureaucrat in various departments, especially sharing his experiences as Deputy Election Commissioner, the Election Commission of India, and also as an advisor and educator. Thank you, sir. Thank you so
Mr.
much.
Sasidhar. Thank you so much.